Hello and welcome back to our Elite Dangerous theme park here in Planet Coaster. We'll be working on it's not really a main street area, this section, but what I wanted to do is kind of do a little bit of a build up and a little bit more of a storytelling element with this park over, say, the Renaissance Fair, where you just kind of instantly get dumped into the main kind of route and you start walking around at that point. So this initial area here is going to be a slums, and Elite Dangerous, we don't really know what all is inside of buildings a whole lot. We're a lot of the times more around the docking bays, or a lot of times around the exterior of a station, just kind of peering on the external shell. But on the inside of a lot of these cities and in areas like that, we just have no clue what's in there. It's just not accessible in its current state of the game. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just making a slums area to kind of build up as we go and introduce more higher end kind of services in the main bulk of the park. And so what I want to do is make this as like a little, almost like a small outpost that's kind of run down, and then we're gonna connect this outpost using the tram to the main city, and the main city will actually be a little bit more of an accurate representation of what's actually in Elite currently. So it'll have the walls, it'll have the landing pads surrounding the city itself, and then you're gonna have pathways, roadways, like elements going through there that will lead the foot traffic around, hopefully. Who knows? Now, of course, we'll be adding rides and things later on, but these type of facilities and stuff, this is my strong suit. This is what I spend the most time on. Adding a flat ride takes 2 seconds. Building a coaster for me takes days, apparently, because I'm just bad at it. But this kind of stuff is pretty interesting to do. Otherwise, we're adding some new elements as well as older elements, trying to make this thing look run down. So, a water container possibly up on a roof. That's just an add-on addition over kind of this metal grated element, and that's just creating kind of a pathway over, or possibly so you can repair some tubing over that dome section. And as I get used to some of the new pieces and things, we'll get faster and faster at constructing things, because I need to start building up my repertoire of pieces that's kind of in my head that I'm so used to working with, to expand and include these new ones, because obviously they offer a wide variety of textures and elements that we'll be using from this point on. And hopefully, maybe in release, some new elements will come out as well. I know there is an additional ride. It's the Rapids ride that will be released upon release that we don't have access to currently. There's some cool piping elements that are in the game now. Kind of a shame we can't color them. The current color of this kind of slightly reddish, rusty color is fine. It works in the slum area, but I kind of wish I could get some oranges and possibly yellow, whites. Kind of more of a hazard color than just a dark kind of red standard iron cast pipe here. And now there's also a whole bunch of panels that were added with the Sci-Fi theme set, and this is me just experimenting with a lot of them, in setting and trying to get just little overhangs and pieces sticking out and recoloring these. I'm still getting a lot of the bugs in terms of just like the color picker, canceling build mode, or if I use advanced move, it cancels build mode still. So that's still kind of slowing us down. In reality, that is something that I hope they fix relatively soon. It's not game breaking by any means. We can still progress, but it's just at a slower pace. Now at this point, there's going to be some skips around. I'm going to go ahead and pre-lay out some base foundations here and building foundations to hopefully save us time, and just so I can get an overall compositional look of the small villagey outpost area here. And this is not going to get 100% done this episode. There's no way for me to build, eight buildings in one episode. I don't have, a crazy amount of time, and to keep these videos rolling out so you guys can come back and watch this get built at a ×10 rate that's pretty good for viewing. I figure that, less can be more in those situations. But we do get a couple buildings done this episode, and more details, of course, will be shown kind of near the end as we do skip around in this, because it just takes a lot of time, and I don't record during all of it. So Jameson Memorial, of course, in the background there. And then what we're going to be doing is if you guys have seen Star Wars, it's going to look a little bit more Star Wars than Elite Dangerous. So obviously it's a little bit different than the rest of the sci-fi stuff that we built so far. And the fact that it's going to look a little bit more of a rundown shanties and, this high-tech industrial contrasted with these low-tech means like wooden beams, kind of canvas tarps, things that they would probably still use because of efficiency's sake, but there's just not the high-end technology district that you're going to be finding, say, in a tourist spot in Elite Dangerous. This is like bare bones, like bottom of the barrel, kind of welcoming you to this world, and then we're gonna, take the tram and you're gonna approach kind of the higher end stuff, and I think that's going to be a little bit more of a dramatic entrance than just walking through a simple small tunnel there. Here is just some more overhang canvas kind of elements here. Now colors going to be relatively muted here, and then I end up going back in and changing the colors of a lot of things, throwing in some more reds, yellows, and oranges from a distance, and also some blacks to pipe out some contrast. There's also going to be a lot of these trash kind of areas where there's just miscellaneous things kind of stacked up, piled up along the street, and possibly some street vendor areas that, are attached to these buildings. And also, of course, our standard Planet Coaster shops, things like Gulpy and I think the Hat's Fantastic is inside the first building that we built. A restroom out the backside there. I do like to hide my restrooms a little bit just so they're just off the beaten path, and also encourages, even more movement of the crowd throughout the park, because obviously if you have these paths leading to these cool areas but there's nothing there to lure people there, then there's really nothing going to be showing up. Here was testing out possibly using some large signs and some larger elements, to get some bright colors, because obviously, you see these a lot in like movies and concept art in general, is these high-tech futuristic cities. They're going to have a lot of neon signs, they're going to have a lot of bright colors, they're really fighting for attention. So we're going to be trying to add layers of that in as we progress through this section. And then also we'll be adding a lot more trash and a lot more overhanging elements, because initially here I just want to get the buildings laid out, and then we'll go back in and actually do a second pass over the whole area at once to address some conflicting, like how it interacts with the path and how it interacts with each other. It's kind of an interesting way to build, you could say. And we'll see some of that as we go into the real-time look. But using these elevator doors to try and get a rounded roof, because there wasn't any roof tiles that I wanted to fit up there. Ventilation, kind of piping, obviously using antennas, trying to get spire-like elements to show up. We'll also be putting down, this is one of the new food stalls. This is a fry stall, which makes me think of the classic like PlayStation 1 game just called Theme Park, and that was kind of my first experience playing in any type of coaster building game. I actually didn't have Roller Coaster Tycoon at all growing up. It was something that I actually wasn't interested in when I was little. I was more interested in like playing Counter-Strike because, first person shooters and everything, and maybe some GoldenEye. Yeah, GoldenEye's good. Window elements, and then trying to use these kind of corrugated metal awnings, slummed areas and areas that are run down. They use a lot of these corrugated metals and vents and little detailing elements that you're going to be finding around to kind of just make the thing look older and more patched together, and that's kind of how we want everything to end up. So here we'll just end up just showing off a little bit of the final building that I was working on. This one's not 100% done currently, but I think I'm at the point that I want to show you guys everything, get your opinion, possibly change things if you guys feel like it's necessary, and then we as a community can come together and help build this park and hopefully make it into a pretty cool experience. So let's go ahead and take a look at it in real time and see what you guys think. So I wanted to show you guys what it's currently looking like at night initially, and then we can kind of change the time of day real quick just so you can see what it looks like kind of all lit up. But the sci-fi theme really lends itself with having a lot of lights and brightness to it. So at nighttime, this park will actually start looking really nice. Unlike the Renaissance Fair where I avoided putting lights down, this one we can kind of embrace that, though you know, it does affect your overall performance in the game, so it's just something to keep in mind. Where are those guys running to? I have no idea. Why are they running? Okay. Anyways, this is currently the section that we have built. Let's go ahead and change the lighting to something bright so you can see. And we got a little bit of stuff going on in this back corner. So we got our French fry stall here. You know, we have some neon lights, some signage, you know, going off the building. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of just like there's a heavy media presence in these elements. So that's something to consider as we expand and keep working over here. There is the restroom. This is one of the new mascots. This is Dex R1, and he goes through. And there is a person inside there. In fact, if you come down, you can see his little feet kind of shuffling about as I clip inside of a building. This is the last building that we kind of ended on, and you know the frontness and the boxiness it's still a work in progress. I want to add some additional elements to try and break up the surfaces a little bit, but this has let's see, I think a hot dog squad and a gulpy back here, so people can eat and grab a piece to drink. And then here's our Hats Fantastic Solved, which is the building that you guys mostly saw us kind of build on camera there, just throwing that together. And this was kind of the first test element, and then this second building was next. We have kind of a vertical element kind of in the middle here. Now this is just like a refueling station, and this is what I'm talking about when I mentioned that we want to try and interact with the path a little bit more. Now I know that people are going to be clipping through elements like these, so I want to keep them low to the ground, about shin level, nothing too much higher than that, so it doesn't look too weird. But, you know, I want piping to go across the roads. I want little ramps, so possibly SRVs or little buggies can go up and over these without, you know, damaging them. And it's something to consider like that. We can also have elements like these where plates have just been fallen off or replaced and just left there, and they just gather rust or what have you. Also some wooden elements kind of sneaking in that area. And then up here, you know, here's some more corrugated metal and things as a detail piece, which, you know, as this gets filled in and we move into this back section here, this will look pretty cool. It will look like a little mini Sci-Fi Slum City area, which overall is something I'm pretty happy with. This is the Wild Blue, and it's going to be our first flat ride. I don't know how I want to skin this just yet. I'm thinking either as like maybe as a small runway, and just so you know, maybe it's for little like F-63 Condors or something that kind of patrol just this area. And as we get to the larger section, we can start introducing the larger ships as well. Also, just a little bit of greenery. You know, you don't want to have too much in the slums areas, more like framing elements. You know, it's not going to have a whole lot through the streets. And I'm thinking about laying out some of these roads over time, just so see if I can get it a little bit cleaner as well. But, you know, just a touch here and there, maybe to fill in some gaps, but everything else should just be very high-tech, metal, man-made. That's kind of what we're going for. So, if you guys enjoyed today's episode of Planet Coaster, feel free to subscribe to my channel so you can monitor the progress. And also, I do appreciate your guys' input in the comments down below as we go through and hopefully make this into a nice long-running series. And go ahead and check out the first video if you want to see how the station was made here. And this is the entrance way to the park. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.